Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are watching this around the world. Welcome to Forged from Iron. I am Gatesy, your host. Thank you for joining us. And please don't forget, as it says on the banner right there, to like, comment on, and share the stream. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that bell icon for alerts on any new content as and when it is uploaded to the channel. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. We are here for the West Ham United squad player tier list season 2022-2023, the latest edition of this particular series. Waiting in the green room, I have a very special guest. He's been on the channel before. He's a good friend of the channel, and I will bring him in without further ado. Bill, how are you, sir?
Hello, mate. Yeah, very well, thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. All is well. The sun is shining. Well, actually, it's not. It's a bit grey and horrible out there. But the sun is shining in here, and I'm looking forward as we record this. This will go out, and our fate will have long since been decided in this particular competition. But as we record this, it's 2 days away from the first leg in the quarterfinal against Lyon. So, plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, I mean, that sentence is just still a bit surreal to hear. Quarter-final in the Europa League against Lyon. Do you know what I mean? So, like, a side with very good pedigree. So, yeah, we wanted to go far in this competition, and beating Sevilla in the round of 16 was absolutely incredible. So, hopefully, obviously, in a couple of days' time, hopefully it'll be the case. And by the time this video comes out, hopefully we'll be Europa League champions.
Might have even won it. Yeah, that'd be absolutely brilliant. What a swan song that'd be for Mr. Mark Noble.
Oh, it might be amazing.
Yeah, but for those of you that are watching, that are looking at this handsome chap and thinking, "Oh, I've not seen this guy before," Bill, please give yourself an introduction.
Yeah, sure. So, I've been a West Ham fan all my life. Been Centre Golder for a number of years at Upton Park, and ever since we moved the stadium. So, I've got my own YouTube channel, which has been Gates' kindly put up for me. So it's called Garage Football. So do a lot of West Ham content, like vlogs, watch-alongs, etc. But other football content as well. I've done interviews with the likes of Guy Mowbray and Dom Fifield and Oliver Kay from The Athletic as well, which I aim to do more interviews in the future. So if you like your West Ham stuff, you like your football stuff in general, then as Gates has kindly put on the screen, and feel free to sub and let us know your thoughts. Cheers. Yeah,
there's plenty to get your teeth into. I mean, you've just referenced it there. You've got the Guy Mowbray interview, which I've seen. That was an excellent interview, I've got to say.
Oh, cheers,
that was a real coup for you to get him on. Was it quite an easy process, or did you have to talk to his agent?
Well, it was really easy, mate, because I've been a fan of Guy for a while, so I follow him on Twitter, obviously, and I thought I wanted to get him on because I've not seen him being interviewed that much, to be honest, on other platforms. I thought I'm a fan of his. I want to get to know his story, get their insight and some commentating and how he, rose through the ranks and all that kind of stuff. And I think he was one of the youngest commentators at a men's World Cup, I think, previously. I thought that'd be quite interesting in insights how he got there. And just went on his Twitter bio. His agent's website was in the link. And just pinged an email saying, like, the interview guy for my channel one day. Weren't expecting a response or certainly one so quickly. And it was actually Guy himself who replied. So obviously his management just passed on the email to him. And it was Guy himself who arranged it with me. And I think we were going to do it sort of in person, then the pandemic hit. So then we did it over Zoom in the summer of 2020. And it was a real privilege to get to know him and hear his story. And I'm being biased, but I thought that was some really good nuggets, some really good quotes and good stories and insights about his life and life as a football commentator as well. So, really proud of him. As I say, I want to try and do more interviews like that in the future, without a doubt.
Good. Well, guys, you got on the banner there, you've got the YouTube handle there, Garage Football on YouTube. Get yourself over there, give and subscribe, hit the bell icon as and when Bill goes and puts any more stuff on the channel, any more interviews with the great and the good of English and world football indeed. Absolutely, you will be the first to know.
I appreciate it. Cheers.
No problem. So we turn our attention to the tier list. Bill, are you ready for the challenge?
Absolutely. Let's bring it on, mate.
Okay, right. Well, for those of you that are not aware of what on earth's going on here, you're saying, well, look, here we go, and I'll go full screen with it. You've got there the West Ham United squad, according to Wikipedia, as of this season. And on above them, you have 4 tiers into which each of the individual players can be placed. And they are as follows. From the top, you've got long-term players, players that you believe will be at the club for 3 seasons and beyond. The next column down is 1 or 2 seasons, so players that you think will have a shelf life of no more than 2 seasons. The bottom one is pretty brutal, but it's fairly self-explanatory. See ya. And for the players that you're not too sure about, there's another column just above that and below the 1 or 2 seasons, which says not sure. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this. And I should also stress, for anybody that watches this, this is not necessarily what Bill believes David Moyes will rank the players as. It is what Bill ranks the players as if he was the manager of West Ham United. Alles klar? Let's crack on. Bill, we're going to do this alphabetically to begin with. The first player I'd like to turn our attention to is Michail Antonio. What are your thoughts, sir?
Straight out of the gate, mate. Well, I think obviously we've got to be careful with Mickey's injuries. So, and we've seen a lot of strikers. He obviously he's not in the class of Benzema or Lewandowski. Of course he isn't, but they're still playing at a really high level, into their mid to late 30s. So obviously Cristiano Ronaldo for Man United as well. But I think Mickey's 32 now, is he? So
I think so. Yes.
I think it's pushing it to put him in the long-term bracket, but certainly 1 or 2 seasons, no doubt about it, and then see from there, really. Okay,
so Michail Antonio, Bill would put him in the 1 or 2 seasons category. Now, the next one could be quite interesting because this isn't a player that technically is ours to call our own, but he's in the squad at the moment. Alphonse Areola, I'd be interested to know, would this be a player if you was David Moyes right now, would you be signing him up in the summer, or maybe would you go a different direction?
This one's really easy, mate. It's in the top tier long term for me. I think he's, without that, he's got to be our long term goalkeeper. Obviously, don't get me wrong. We'll talk about Fabianski later on, but I mean, he's playing to a real high level. He's our number 1 for now, but I think we've got to think of the future. Who's going to be the future number 1? I think Areola has to be that person. He's played very well in the games. He's played like the Europa League. That save in the second against Sevilla was absolutely incredible, and he's capable of making saves like that. He's only going to get better as well, and he's proved himself in this league with Fulham as well. He's probably their best player when they got relegated under Scott Parker. So I think if we can, I think we've got an option to buy him, or even if we don't, I think we've got to try and go all out and get him, because who else is there that we're going to get that's better than him? I mean, I know Sam Johnson's been linked over the years, but I think as much as he's good, I think Areola's a better goalkeeper personally. So yeah, long term for me.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, but he's got to know the players over the last almost an entire season.
Yeah, so definitely.
I just think, absolutely, I completely agree with you. And that save that he made against Sevilla in the second leg, he doesn't make that save. That's 1-0 on the night to Sevilla, 2-0 on aggregate, and it's an awful long way back. But that save was an absolutely critical moment. And
yeah, it's incredible, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that... And Fabianski's done absolutely nothing wrong, but I think that obviously Areola's the younger goalkeeper. Fabianski's coming to the end of his career, so we need to be looking at getting in a quality goalkeeper. And Alphonse Areola's proved himself.
Especially he's already in the building, as you say. He's already here. Like, we know what he's capable of. He's shown that in the games he's played. So I think it'd be it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, completely agree. Next one could be interesting. Harrison Ashby. How do you see Harrison Ashby within the pecking order?
Well, he's a player for the future, but whether his future is at West Ham, that's up for debate. I think from what we've seen, I think he's played pretty well, I've got to say, but he's still very raw, and it's hard to judge. But I think I'll put him in the 1 or 2 seasons for now, and then again evaluate what he's like at that point. If he plays well and gets more games, then we might just stick him in the long term, and it'd be quite easy. But for now, probably 1 or 2 seasons, I'd say.
Absolutely. That's completely fair, I believe. Next one could be interesting. He's very much a polarizing character, this guy. Saeed Benrahma. Where do you stand on the Algerian wing wizard?
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Ben Rama's, and as you say, he does polarize opinion. He's so frustrating; he could be amazing, but rubbish in the same 30 seconds. So, I think I put in 1 or 2 seasons actually. If he can, I think he can improve, and if he does in the next 18 months, 2 years, then yeah, he might be very much a long term player for us. But I think, I think he's played well enough since he's joined, and hopefully he can improve. And I'll certainly give him 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah.
If we was to just switch it for a moment, the format, and I was to ask you the question, where do you believe David Moyes would put him in this tier list? Do you think he'd put him where you've just put him, or do you think he'd put him somewhere else?
Yeah, I think either between 1 or 2 seasons, I'm not sure, because, he does get subbed off a lot. And obviously there was that time a few games ago where Ben Rama was unhappy, not lip reader, but he looked like he was saying like, well, why always me, or why am I always subbed off, or whatever. So, but I think he just needs to get more consistency in his game. And but yeah, I think Moyes is a fan of his, but I think he wants more from him, and rightly so.
Yeah, that's fair. The next is a player that, you reference about him being subbed an awful lot. Well, this next player last season was subbed an awful lot, but he's absolutely flourished this season. Jared Bowen.
Long term, I think that's again another nailed on one for me. Obviously, he's been linked with a move to Liverpool in the last season or two, and rightly so, because he's played to a real high level and he's elevated his game this season. If he weren't for his injury, I'm pretty sure he would have been called up to Gareth Southgate's recent England squad, and hopefully at the end of this calendar year he'll be in the World Cup squad if he continues as playing as he has done. So, yeah, obviously, look, whether he will be a long-term player, realistically, obviously Declan Rice probably falls into a similar category, we'll come on to him. But, I think the way he's played, he's been amazing ever since he joined us. So, yeah, it's someone to build our side around, which we do already. So, yeah, someone for the long term, no doubt about it.
And he's still yet to hit his peak, Bill, isn't he? That's the thing. What we're seeing now is not the peak of his powers.
Yeah, I think there's so many more levels to his game. So hopefully, obviously, he can continue that being an Englishman, and hopefully he will have those years with West Ham. Yeah,
fair. We move on now to a player who last season, in my opinion, was the hammer of the year if I'd have been choosing it. This season, not quite been at the same level for a number of different reasons. But what are your thoughts on Vladimir Kufal?
I'll put him in the 1 or 2 seasons category. I think it's just injuries with Sufal. I think with his, last season he was phenomenal for us. I say, definitely it should be sold, and we obviously know his abilities. So I think, again, long term, that's up for debate. Obviously, we've got Ashby and a couple of other youngsters, Johnson as well. Who's obviously deputised brilliantly this season. So I'll put Sufal in 1 or 2 seasons and evaluate from there.
Fair enough. We come across to the other side of the back four division. Aaron Cresswell, what are your thoughts on him?
I'll probably go 1 or 2 seasons with Aaron. Yeah. Yep. Again, he's it's one of them where injuries sort of impacted his career, but it took a while to get back to the level he did. Maybe the end of Upton Park era. But yeah, last season he was very good with his amount of assists, and he has been the same again this season. And I think when he hasn't played, there's been a real hole in our defence, not only defensively but from an attacking point of view with his crosses and his corners, etc. So yeah, 1 or 2 seasons for Aaron for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Next one, another defender. This time we're moving to the heart of defence. Big Craig Dawson.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put a lot of people in 1 or 2 seasons, mate. So I'm going to put Dawson there as well. I think he's defied the critics. I think I didn't really realise, Gatesy, how good he was. I think maybe because he played in the sides like Watford and West Brom, where they were down the bottom consistently. I knew he was a decent enough defender, but whether he was good enough to play for a Europa League side, I doubted that personally. But he's just, again, he's been a real revelation, especially how much we paid for him. 2-3 million, was it?
Yeah, it's about
absolutely
that,
incredible. How much with it's been absolutely amazing. So just give him 1 or 2 seasons. Obviously, again, he's getting we'll see how it goes. He's certainly ain't a long-term player for us. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, give him 1 or 2 more seasons. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Another player that, again, a bit like Benrahma, tends to divide opinion depending upon who you're talking to, is a Diop.
This one is not sure for me. Reason being, he's obviously got the potential to be a long-term player. I think he's got the raw attributes to be an incredible defender. He's physically very strong. He's good in the air. But the reason why he's not a regular, as we've seen since he joined, this second season onwards, he makes too many mistakes. Gets caught out of position too much, ball watches, and he's not as reliable as Dawson, who was brought in. Obviously he's the older, experienced pro, but Dawson plays ahead of him, Ogbonna and obviously Zuma. So if we get a good offer for Diop, I'd consider selling him. But
what do you believe would constitute a good offer, if I may inquire, Bill?
If we get if we could get anywhere near what we paid for him, then I'd really consider taking that. To be honest with you, we're not going to get
15?
Yeah, 15, 20. Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think you're getting your money back on him, are you?
No. And especially as we're not going to get more from him than, say, when Jose Mourinho made those praising comments after we beat Man United in the 18-19 season. So, it depends. I'm really unsure on Diop. Really sit on the fence with him, so I'll put him in the not sure.
Fair. We come to Lucas Fabianski next, who, as I said earlier, hasn't really done too much wrong. What are your thoughts? I got a funny thing. I know where he might go, but you never know. You might surprise me.
Yeah, 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah. It's an obvious one. I think he's been good this season. I can understand why some fans want Areola to play more. I get that, but I think on the whole, Lucas Fabianski, I wouldn't say quite to the standard of his first season, but he's not far off for me. He's made some real good saves and just brings a real calmness and really good communication with the back four. And what goes underrated is like the amount of crosses he catches. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. So and just a real calm presence, as I say. So I think 1 or 2 seasons, whether he's a starter for 1 or 2 seasons, that's up for debate. But I mean, even if he doesn't start, what a backup option to have. Yeah. So to Areola, who I want in the long term. So I think and then 1 or 2 seasons, and he might retire after that. So and if he obviously does, I'd want him to stay as our goalkeeping coach personally as well. 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah.
One thing I'd say about the worry that I had coming into this season about Fabianski, and I also had it with Antonio, was injuries. They both seem to pick up an awful lot of niggly injuries in the last couple of seasons. Yet so far this season, I'm touching wood as I'm saying it.
Yeah,
they've both been pretty much injury free, which is quite strange.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the only thing that sort of held Lucas back was his injuries. Really, I think it took him a while to get back to his best form, and I think he's, as I say, he's not quite hit that level, but he's not far off. So I think, and that's the reason why he's played a lot of games. If he was indifferent with his form, we'd be worse off in the league, and European. Worse off in the league, and Arrow probably would have played more games. So it just shows the level of consistency he's shown this season.
Yeah, absolutely. We now move on to the Spanish Cockney. He eats paella, he drinks Estrella. Pablo Fornals, El Fornicador, as Gonzo calls him.
Long term, I think he keeps improving season on season, game on game. Again, a bit like Benrahma, he can be so frustrating but magnificent in the same 60 seconds almost. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's getting more assists, and he's really suited to our style of play. So yeah, I think along with Bowen and a few others, which we'll touch on, he's someone to obviously build our side around in the first team, and obviously in the squad in general. So yeah, long term for me, and he's still relatively young as well, isn't he? So he's only going to improve.
And the thing I like about him is that he's embraced the club. The club's embraced him. The fans have embraced him. He's embraced the fans, and he gets what it means to be a West Ham fan. After the Seville game, he did the interview and he's singing "West Ham are massive everywhere we go." You know, brilliant.
Yeah, exactly,
And bringing his baby son out onto the pitch at London Stadium, I think before that particular game, and he was singing "Come On You Irons" and whatnot. So
that's brilliant. You want players like that, no matter where they're from, and as you rightly said, that's spot on, mate. Spanish Cockney, and Liverpool fans. That's even though he's German, Didi Hamann gets a lot of plaudits from Liverpool fans. They call him like the Scouse German, or something like that. Anyway, some other sort of nickname, whatever. So, but I think he's really taken to the club, and obviously we've taken to him. So, but more importantly, he's playing really well on the pitch. So, definitely someone to build around for the future. Definitely,
absolutely. Whether that statement of someone for the long-term future is attributed to this next one, we're about to find out. Give me your thoughts on Ryan Fredericks.
I'll probably be in the Sia column. Or row, sorry. Obviously, I think his contract's up.
Yeah,
this summer. Is it worth him tying him down? Personally, again, he's had his injury problems this season. I think he has. I think he's when he has played
every season, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But when he has played, he's played decently enough. But I think we're quite stocked in the right back position. Or we've got Kufal and Johnson, who we'll touch on, Ashby as well. I think we're okay for right backs, to be honest with you. So. I think probably I'm not sure if it's worth us tying him down to another contract. So it might be, thanks very much, see you later.
Yeah, I agree. The right back is an area that we're pretty well stocked, as you say. We've got Ashby, we've got Kufal, you've got Johnson. Do you really need Ryan Fredericks? Possibly not. It's debatable. But saying about Ben Johnson, he's the next one on the list. What are your thoughts on the young right back?
Yeah, straight up in the long term, mate. Again, a real easy one. I think he keeps improving all the time. Defensively solid, and could do with some improvement going forward. But I mean, I think for someone so young to play at such a high level against some real quality left wingers. I mean, the amount of good quality left wingers in the Premier League and Europa League as well, and he's tending like a duck to water. And it's not a surprise really that when Ngakia got his debut ahead of him, when X and other people were saying, "Oh, Johnson's the one," and I'm really not surprised actually. If it weren't for his injury problems, Johnson would have played even more games for us. So he's been phenomenal. Obviously, plays at left back as well, and he's very versatile, and reminds me a little bit of how Dennis Irwin, where like you wasn't sure if he was right or left footed, but he was equally as adept at playing both positions. So obviously Irwin took free kicks, which Johnson don't. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I think Johnson is definitely one for the long term. I think this is that's a very easy one for me.
To be honest, I remember Dennis Irwin. He was a fantastic fullback, left back or right back. For you to make the comparison to him, if I was Ben Johnson, I'd take that as a hell of a compliment. The next one, this one could be quite difficult for you to give an opinion on because I think I've seen Halley's Comet more often. Alex Crowl.
I think it's either in the not sure or seer. I know that much. I think from what I've seen of him, I probably could put him in seer. Actually, I've got to say. Obviously, he's on loan. I think we have got an option to buy him, but I don't think Moyes rates him. And from what I've seen, I don't really rate him either. To be honest with you, when I watched him in the Euros, I wasn't amazingly impressed by him. But I thought, okay, he's on loan. It's minimal risk. Let's see what he's like. But when he has played, I just don't think he suits our way of football. I've got to say, and I think for me, what sort of confirmed it was the Kidderminster game in the FA Cup. I thought he was woeful in that game. And when he has come on in the early Europa League games, like the group stage, I think some fans raved a little bit too much about him. Like he's doing the most basic of what a midfielder should do at this level. So I don't think he offers quite what we want. So I think there's a better centre midfield options we could buy either in the Premier League or in Europe. So I don't think it's for me. But you never know if Moyes buys him permanently, and starts playing more, he might turn out to be brilliant. I don't know. I don't see it personally from. So I'm going to put him in seer.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment on your behalf, Bill. It's quite difficult to sort of gauge how anyone can really sort of make a judgment on him in such. I think he's played 6 games last time I looked in all competitions, considering we've played Premier League, League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League matches, 6 games in all competitions. Yeah, just can't really see how you can sort of like look at him and go, well, yeah, he's a long-term player.
I think if Moyes rated him, he would have played a lot more. I don't think he does.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I think if you're getting a Mark Noble that's getting ahead of you in the team, that with all due respect to Mark Noble, fantastic servant for the club, but he's in his last season, and if Mark Noble's ahead of him in the pecking order, then you know that the manager doesn't really particularly rate you. So there you go. Probably time to pack your bags.
Exactly, yeah.
This is someone, at one point, I thought he was going to pack his bags, and it may well still prove to be the case. There are rumours that he wants to go back to River Plate, but what are your thoughts on Manuel Lanzini?
I'm going to put him in not sure.
Okay.
I think it depends on who we buy in the summer. If we get someone a similar like him playmaker who can drop deep but also playing a sort of maybe a number 10 or out wide, I'd consider selling him if we manage to get someone of a similar ability or a couple of players like him. But if we don't, then I'd be happy for him to stay another season or so, because I think when he has played pretty well. Obviously not to the level he was pre his injury, but it took a while, like Cresswell, probably to get back to somewhere near his best form. But I think I'm really impressed with Manu, I've got to say. But again, injury problems as well. Like had a few niggles and stuff like that. So I think I'm probably not sure based on our potential transfers or non-transfers there this summer. So if we could get someone of his ability, then I'd consider letting him go. But if we don't, I'd be happy for him to be in the squad.
Fair enough. Talking about squad players, this next guy probably encapsulate that perfectly. David Martin. Now, I should stress, because a few people have before yourself that have done this have tried to sort of do a little bit of a cop-out, and I've said, no, this is David Martin as a player. You're not making him a coach or anything like that. David Martin, the player, where are you putting him?
Well, I see you. This is as a player, as a coach, that's up for debate. I'd like to have him maybe in the academy as an academy goalkeeping coach.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I think he's played at all the levels from the Prem downwards. So, but as a player, it's fourth choice. So, no, see you later.
Yeah, he had that moment at Stamford Bridge.
Which was
beautiful. One of those beautiful moments in football. I think the word is serendipity, a beautiful accident. And it was, everything came together. Roberto came in because Fabianski was injured.
Got a chance with Dave Martin.
Roberto was absolutely crap. And eventually Pellegrini had to shunt him to one side and went, okay, you got your chance. He kept a clean sheet and everything else. But with all due respect to him, your fourth choice goalkeeper, mate. Thanks, but no thanks.
Exactly. As I like him to still be in the club if you fancied it, but I mean, as a player, then it's the most obvious CEO on this list. I'd say. Are
you going to put Arthur Masuaku in a long-term player category? I wonder. Possibly not, but you might surprise me, Bill. Where are you putting him?
I think it's Sia for me with Arthur. I think he's been at the club long enough. I think there have been games and spells where he's played really well, but again, he's had his own injury problems, and at the end of the day, we're at how we've played the last couple of years, and we're a Europa League side now, or a side going for European competition. I just don't think he's good enough for the level we're trying to achieve now. So I think he is a Prem player, like maybe for like a side maybe fighting relegation or that sort of 14th, 15th kind of area. But in terms of the side going for the top 6 or top 4, he's not good enough, too inconsistent. So a seer for me.
Yeah, fair enough. I've been going alphabetically up to this point, and you'll probably see who is next, but I'm going to leave him till last. Okay. So I'm going to deviate at this point, and I'm going to take you now to Kurt Zuma.
Straight at the top, mate. Long done. Again,
boom.
Very easy. He's been amazing ever since he's joined. He's shown he's a Champions League, Europa League quality player. He's been fantastic since he joined. I think it'd be real value for money as well, considering I don't think we paid amazingly over the odds for him, but I think he's worth that now. Like, do you know what I mean? I think he's worth 50, 60 million easily now, the way he's played. So, I think he's been incredible. He's obviously his tackling, his heading, and I think him and Ogbonna were forming a good partnership for Ogbonna's injury. And I think he's starting to form a good partnership with Craig Dawson. So I think definitely like he's been fantastic. Definitely someone for the future. No doubt about it.
If I take to one side the incident that happened with his cat, and if I take to one side the injury that put him out for a spell, do you think he could realistically have been in with a shout of Hammer of the Year?
Yeah, I don't think that's too outlandish to say, mate. I think he's made an impact from the first game he had, and when he has played, even despite the controversy, which obviously he got criticised for, rightly so, but that hasn't affected him at all, which I think is a testament to him as a player, and also his mentality on the pitch as well. So I think on the pitch he's been outstanding. So if that, you're right, mate. If he didn't have that, and obviously he had a spit out of injury, then I think he'd be right in the running.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not quite sure this next guy would have been in running for Hammer of the Year, whatever happened. Although, in fairness, in recent weeks, the goal against Villa, the winner against Sevilla in the second leg, that ensured our progression into the quarterfinals, and obviously what's going on in his homeland must be absolutely heart-wrenching for the guy on a human level. But Andrei Yarmolenko is being judged here on his footballing abilities, nothing more, nothing less. Where would you put him in the tier list?
I'll put him in the C row. Yarmolenko. I think ever since obviously the tragedy in Ukraine, I mean, again, the resolve he's shown, and his ability on the pitch has been fantastic. As you mentioned, the win against Sevilla and win against Villa as well. So fair play to him. But I think again he's had his injury problems ever since he joined the club, really, and he's not obviously a regular starter anyway. So obviously we'll thank him for the goals he has scored for us. Obviously the one against Chelsea.
Yeah.
In the summer of 2020, after Project Restart was absolutely vital for us to win at the 3-2. Obviously, the goals I mentioned, the recent ones he's got. So, and a huge amount of respect to him for playing during this sort of time as well. And obviously, I hope him and his family all fine. But in terms of football ability in the long term, well, he isn't. I wouldn't even argue he's a Prem player. He's obviously a very good, talented player, but some players, they just don't suit the Premier League, and I think he's proved that. I think in his spell with us. So obviously I wish him well, and I think he'll have a good career back wherever he chooses next. But I think in the long term, unfortunately, he's not for us.
Fair. Next player, you mentioned about some players just don't take to the Premier League, and I do wonder whether that might be an accurate assessment of the following player, because he was at Everton before. Yes, as a young lad, but it didn't work out for him there. He's come to West Ham via Russia, but Nikola Vlasic hasn't really set the world alight thus far, but it's your opinion that counts on him, Bill.
I think I'm going to put him in. Not sure. I'm going to put him in not sure. I think there is a player there, but as you rightly say, does he suit the Premier League? Obviously, he had a very brief spell at Everton, which is kind of a footnote really in his career. But I mean, I think there is a player there. I think he's had his injury problems. I don't know if he had COVID as well. I might be wrong. So I think he's certainly got the talent, but whether he's good enough for the Premier League, that's up for debate. But hopefully next season we'll see the best of him, and if he plays to anywhere near what he's capable of, then definitely he's a player for the future. Go straight in the long term. But I'm not sure whether has he settled. We don't know. He might be one of them where he's not settled, and if we get an offer, then we might need to cash in on him, unfortunately. But I'll give him another season probably. But I'm not sure. I think it's just I'll see how pre-season goes, but I think the jury is still out on him. Yeah,
fair enough. We now turn our attentions to the incumbent Hammer of the Year, who last season was, given he got Hammer of the Year, I think it's fairly safe to say he was one of our better players. This season, little bit more patchy in terms of his output, in my view. But what are your thoughts on Thomas Sojak?
I think, as you say, I don't think he's quite hit the heights of last season, but he's still a good player, and I think he's just pretty burnt out, mate, with the amount of games he's played, like every game solidly, and for the Czech Republic as well. So, but hopefully, if we do get some depth in the centre midfield in the window, which that again, whether that will happen or not, I don't know. I think he'll bit of rotation that will definitely help him, especially the amount of running he does every game. So I'll put him in the long term. I think he's been great ever since he joined, and still I think he's only like 27, I think. So he's still approaching his peak, and I think he's been really good for us. So again, someone to build our side around.
Yeah, I mean, as we record this 2 days ago, we had the home win against Everton, and I actually thought that Thomas Sojak, wouldn't say he had a bad game, but I wouldn't say that when I was watching it live in the ground, that I actually sort of like he did anything that I thought was particularly noteworthy. But when I looked at the stats afterwards, he won 9 aerials. So it's like, it's almost as much as the rest of the team put together. So, even when he doesn't seem to be contributing, he's possibly doing things that maybe you haven't quite picked up on sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's more to his game than getting headers at the back post. Do you know what I mean? Obviously typified that in the second against Sevilla with the opening goal, but I think there is more actually when his headers. I think interceptions doesn't get noticed either. Him and Rice are very good screens, so obviously put his foot in with tackles and stuff. So he's not going to be one to spray the ball around Michael Carrick or Paul Scholes style. No. So and get a load of assists every season. He's a different type of player. So, but I think there's more to his game than just getting headers at the back post.
Yeah, fair enough. And we turn our attention to his midfield partner, Mr. Declan Rice.
Yeah, well, look, straight in the long term, clearly. Obviously, he's our best player, and there's no doubt about whether he will stay with us in the long term. Again, that's up for debate. But I think he's been absolutely phenomenal, and I think even with a few games to go, I think I'd be amazed if he wasn't hammer of the year this season. He's been incredible. Gets better every season, and Gareth Southgate's really recently in the last internationals talked about him potentially being a future England captain. Again, I think that's a real compliment to him, and obviously he's West Ham captain at the moment, and he gets better all the time. He's adding more to his game in terms of his dribbling from midfield, and he's starting to get more goals and more contributions going forward, as well as his fantastic screening and defensive ability, which he's obviously shown. So look, again, whether he's at the club in the long term, that's debatable. But in terms of his ability, he's clearly right at the top. Long term.
Do you know another thing about the Everton game that we've just witnessed 2 days ago? A lot of people said that Declan Rice, by his standards, didn't have a great game, and yet I didn't see anyone when they was giving the marks out gave him less than a 7. And that's the incredible thing is he set his standards so high that even when he doesn't hit it, he's still better than an awful lot of the other midfielders that are in the Premier League at that particular game weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as you rightly say, mate, he's not less than an 8 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like you could. It's not too outlandish to say you could be man of the match for every game he plays now, which is is a frightening level of consistency and obviously ability. So this just shows how brilliant he is.
Yeah, fair enough. We move on now to Darren Randolph. What are your thoughts on West Ham's number 3 goalkeeper?
I'll probably put him in Sia, to be honest with you. I think as a third choice, I think I'd rather have one of the youngsters as one of like Nathan Trott or Yang, is it? Anang?
Yep.
I'd rather have them I'd rather have them as a third choice personally. So, how I'd want it is, Areola to be on number 1, Fabianski as a number 2, that's brilliant. And then as a third choice, one of the youngsters personally. So I think I think Randolph, is it decent enough backup to have? Don't get me wrong. Yeah, could be worse, but I mean, I think he's not going to get much in game time, though, is he? Yeah,
if he's got any ambitions for playing for his country, which I believe he still harbours ambitions of playing for the Republic of Ireland, but he's not going to do that whilst he's not even warming the bench.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's a very decent Championship goalkeeper, and that's probably a side he'll probably joining that division.
Yeah, fair enough. We're down to the final two. So the next one is a guy that, as we record this, has still not yet made his comeback from a serious injury, although I believe he is actually in training at the moment. Angelo Ogbonna.
1 or 2 seasons for me with Angelo. It's such a shame he got injured because, he was absolutely phenomenal for the start of the season. And as I said earlier, struck up a really good partnership with Kurt Zuma. Again, he's a player. Despite he's a bit like Thiago Silva, where like the older he's getting, the better he's playing, I think. And plus, he offers that left-footed option as centre back, which we don't really have with anyone else. So, I think obviously, hopefully, this injury he doesn't get any more like this. But I think certainly for the next season or two, I think that definitely should be in the squad without a doubt.
Yeah. Fair. And we've left the best till last. Club captain, club legend, West Ham through and through, Mr. Mark James Noble. Now, before you give your answer, we know that he is going to call it a day at the end of the season. But if you, Bill, were West Ham manager, do you think you would be minded to put your arm round his shoulder, whisper gently in his ear, you could do this for another 12 months, Mark. You're a long time retired. Don't give it up just yet. Or do you think you'd be going, yeah, thanks for your service, Mark, and see you later. Good luck in your coaching endeavours or whatever it is that comes next. Where would you be? What would you be doing?
I don't know. I think, it'd be amazing if David Moyes hasn't had a conversation already. I think for me, does Mark still want to play? Because he might want to play for a team in the Championship or League One or whatever. So, or he might just think, no, I want to retire at the top kind of thing. So, I definitely would want him involved in the club. I think everyone would in some capacity. But as a player, I think Mark's actually played pretty well this season in the games he has played. So, I'll probably put him in the not sure actually for the purpose of this tier list. I think we've got to move on from Mark at some point. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens with him actually. Whether he will actually retire as a player, whether he will.
Could you see him representing another club?
I can't, but stranger things have happened. I certainly not in the Prem. I think the Premier League's probably passing by, to be honest with you. I think, but could he play for a team in the Championship or League One for a couple of seasons?
Do what John Terry did and drop down for that one season. Yeah,
potentially. Yeah, I don't think that's too outlandish to say. Or he might just retire. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, and but if he does leave the club, I think, and he retires, I think to get him involved in the club at some point, I don't know whether he wants to get in the coach, and he might not do. I think he's got enough money. I think he's done well in property from what X has said before. So he might not necessarily have the real desire and determination to put his boots on and go on the training pitch. But certainly,
I've heard a director of football role mentioned. Bill, have you heard this one?
I have. I'd be hesitant to give him that straight away. Yeah, I think you got to earn your stripes as a director. So. But I'd certainly get him involved in maybe the operations side if he doesn't want to be a coach. Maybe get him inside, get him on as a sort of a buffer between the board and the players potentially as well, or even just something like player liaison. I know something small like that, and he works his way up. So it might be something where like he might want a long-term role, maybe just a consultant. I don't know. Like you can just find a role for Mark. Do you know what I mean? So.
You make a tea if you want, Mark. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. He might want to get in the punditry, maybe do something on the side for West Ham for a couple of days a week. I don't know. I think he's played at the highest level, and he's been a captain for a long time. So he could turn his hand to anything. I think he'd be a real success at. So, but as long as he's involved in the club in some capacity going forward, then I think that's what we'd all want.
He might be looking at Carlton Cole because Carlton Cole's doing a few bits and pieces for BT Sport. He's doing bits and pieces for Talk Sport as well on the radio. I was listening to the radio on Talk Sport this morning, and he was on it this morning with Laura Woods. He might have a word with Carlton and say, that looks like something a little bit of me. I might get involved in that.
Yeah, and I think ain't Carlton involved in the under-14s or something like that as
Yes,
well?
he is. Yeah.
So that again, like a bit of both. Like you're involved with the club, but you also do your punditry and your media work, which I think would be a good balance. Yeah,
Best of both worlds.
yeah. I think Stephen Gerrard did that. He was at BT, but did work with the Liverpool under-18s as well. So, and that's obviously worked out for Gerrard. So I don't know. Maybe Mark might do a similar thing. Who knows?
Fair. Okay, I'm just going to go full screen with this real quick, Bill, just to sort of give everybody the full SP. So, long-term players, 3+ seasons, Areola, Bowen, Fornals, Johnson, Zuma, Sojak and Rice. 1 or 2 seasons, Antonio, Ashby, Benrahma, Kufal, Cresswell, Dawson, Fabianski and Ogbonna. Not sure are Diop, Lanzini, Vlasic and Mark Noble. Sia are Fredericks, Crowl, Martin, Masuaku, Yarmolenko, and Randolph. Bill.
There we are, yeah.
We are at the conclusion of the tier list. I'd like to thank you very much indeed for your time on this particular endeavour.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, mate. It was good to go through all the squad. Shows we've got some big decisions to make in the summer.
Definitely. I think there's an awful lot of work that David Moyes has got in the transfer market.
No, definitely.
So hopefully he does more in the transfer activity than he did in January. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's for another video.
Yeah. Bill, before we'll finish as we started, please give your channel a little bit of a shout out, please.
No, cheers. Yeah, so I'm the host and presenter of Garage Football, so doing many different football content such as vlogs and watch-alongs, etc., and interviews as well, which I'd like to do more in the future. I do a lot of West Ham content, being a West Ham fan, as you'd expect. So and if you enjoy football content, then sub to my channel and let us know your thoughts. Cheers.
Plenty there for you to get your teeth into. You got vlogs, and as I said earlier, there's a very good interview that he did. You said it was nearly 2 years ago, virtually, with Guy Mowbray.
Yeah, that's right. The Match of the Day commentator. So definitely want to do more interviews in sort of this year and going forward. So and if anyone's got any thoughts on who to for me to interview, then let us know. Whether it's commentators, journalists, players, managers, ex-players, ex-managers, people in the media.
Mark Noble.
But yeah, that'd be great. Or YouTubers as well. Football. Other channels have got their own, presenters to speak to and stuff. So anyone, just let us know your thoughts.
I come quite cheap.
It'd be worth it, Gatesy.
Nice one. Right, okay, Bill. I'd say thank you very much indeed for your assistance on this particular endeavour. And for those of you that have been watching, please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit that bell icon and you'll be notified of any new content as and when we upload it to the channel. Bill, I'd like to ask you, what are we?
We're massive, mate.
That'll do me. Come on, you Irons.
Get on, you Irons.